Rev up your engine! I've seen mistakes that people have made over the last 52 years I've been fixing cars. So I'll tell you the big ones so you don't have to make them yourself. Learn where the engine oil is and how to check it so that it's near the full line. When it's cold, every once in a while, check the coolant to make sure it's full of coolant. If it's an older car, learn where the power steering reservoir is, hiding back here. But if you have a more modern car, you don't have to worry about that. They got electronic power steering. But learn what you have. Get a little bit of information about your car. And always learn where the battery is. These old ones, simple. They're right here. Learn which is positive and which is negative. So if you do have to jump start it, you'll do it correctly. Some cars realize the battery's in the trunk, under the seat or someplace. Look for that. And if they are hidden, a lot of times, under the hood, they'll have little markers that say, Jumpstart Your Car here. And they'll say positive cable goes here and negative cable goes there. So learn where that is if you got one of those cars with a hidden battery. So instead of taking a car apart to jumpstart it, you can do it under the hood. Just learn where those parts are for your car. And of course, learn where the brake fluid is. In this case, it's right here. You can see through it, so it's up at the top. You know, it's perfectly fine, doesn't need any. Most cars these days have this gimmick. A light comes on that says, service car soon. Well, a lot of those lights just come on every 15,000 miles. They mean absolutely nothing. So you can research it on yours, and you can also find out, using your phone, how to set them off. If you've been changing your oil regularly, most times those lights don't mean anything. So you can learn which buttons you push to turn the stupid warning off when it comes on. Don't freak out if your car is running perfectly fine and some light comes on that says, maintenance due, service required, because those are just gambits they put in a car when they build them to make money off of unsuspecting people. But in that respect, learn what all the lights in your car mean. For instance, your battery light comes on. That doesn't mean your battery's bad. That means that the alternator isn't charging the battery. You need to get that fixed relatively soon or you will run out of electricity. Watch the temperature gauge on the dash. Most cars run about in the middle. If it stays in the middle, fine. But you're driving on, it keeps going up and up towards the H, pull over at the nearest place you can if it gets near that H. You don't want to blow your engine because it's got a problem. Anything from low on coolant, leaking water pump, lots of things can do it. But if it starts going closer to the H, get off the road and find out what's wrong. Don't keep driving it, because once it gets to the H, the coolant starts boiling. And when boiling coolant is inside your system, it's no longer dissipating extra heat from the engine, and you'll blow a head gasket, your gas gauge. Don't let it get all the way to empty, because if it does actually get empty, car won't start. You try starting it while you're trying to start it, your fuel pump, which in most cars is in a gas tank, starts to suck air, can burn out a fuel pump. One of those assemblies could cost over $800 to replace on some cars. If it's real low on gas, put some more gas in. Don't keep driving until it dies, because if it does die and then you try to start it over and over again, you can burn out that expensive fuel pump. Look, we don't live in a magic world. Cars run on gasoline. And if you run out, the car isn't going to run anymore. So always keep a quarter of a tank or more in it, so you don't have to worry about running out and causing catastrophic damage to the pump when all you have to do is put $5 of gas in the tank. Now the next big mistake new drivers make is not checking the tire pressure every once in a while. You just unscrew the little cap and stick it on. That's it. In this case, I'm a bad boy. It's only got 20 pounds. It should have 32. And when you do add air, it's 45 degrees outside. As it gets colder, plain physics, the pressure will go down. As it gets hotter, the pressure goes up. So, when the weather changes, you want to check your tires. If you don't have enough pressure, the tires are softer, you can easily get nails in, and the tires will wear on the outside because there's not enough pressure and the outsides will wear more. Conversely, if you put way too much pressure, then the middle bulges out, the middle of the tire wears out faster. You're riding on air, thin bed of rubber, most of it's air. So you want to make sure the air pressure is right. They'll handle better, they're safer. Just check them every once in a while. Don't get caught stranded somewhere because you don't have a simple thing that's inside the trunk waiting for you to use. Now, you don't want a cat in your trunk. They'd make a lot of noise. But you also don't need all the crap I have, because I've been doing car repair for decades. A lot of that stuff I just inherit and throw it in. But the first thing is either have a set of jumper cables. You want good, thick jumper cables with heavy-duty clamps so they work. And you want them long enough so you can reach from car to car if it's in a weird space. But realize today, a lot of people They're not going to let you use their car to jumpstart your car because they know modern electricity in cars with all the computers, sometimes that can damage something. Even better than having good jumper cables is a jumper battery itself. All you have to do is plug them into the device, and there's one big advantage of these jumpers. Until you turn it on, there's no power. So you can hook it up directly to your battery, positive to positive, get it tight, negative to negative. There's no spark because the power isn't turned on yet. So if you have jumper cables, you connect positive, positive, negative, negative. The last connection, you'll often get a spark. Theoretically, that can cause an explosion. It's very rare, hardly ever happens. But with this, that's an impossibility. Once you have connected, you push the button to turn it on, and then there's no spark because the switch is inside here. You don't need another person with another car. You just throw that in your trunk and away you go. And these things are also smart. You have to be smart, put positive to positive, negative to negative. But if you hook this thing up backwards before you do anything, this will tell you it's hooked up backwards and you got to switch them the other way. You're not going to destroy a very expensive computer system jump starting it backwards. It will warn you. You can't beat it for a new driver so you don't get stranded somewhere, or you don't destroy your system jump starting it wrong. Now another thing you shouldn't be caught without is an air pump to pump up your tires if they get low. There's a million of them out there, but I like this Via Air for two reasons. All steel here. They last forever, and this particular one has clamps. There's some that plug into the cigarette lighter. Sometimes the cigarette lighters blow the fuse. Sometimes they don't work right. This is foolproof. Just hook up positive to positive, negative to negative. That's it. Plus, it has an accurate built-in gauge. So if you need 32 pounds, you do it till it goes to 32 pounds. One thing is all you need. If you're low on air, a lot of times you can fill them up. They can go weeks before they lose 5 or 6 pounds again. They got a little nail or something in them, you can fill it up. Drive away safely. I've had that one for a decade. It's made out of steel, like I said. It could last virtually as long as you're gonna last. You can get the cigarette lighter one, this cheap plastic one that came from Harbor Freight Tool. It was like $8 or something, but hey, it's not gonna hold up like the other one. Gauge isn't as accurate. I mean, for a few bucks more, get a good one. Mistake that many new car buyers make is buying the wrong car. You wanna make sure you buy the right car in the first place, especially if you're buying a used car. Although if you're buying the wrong new car, it could be just as much hassle. You're throwing a bunch of money away, but most first-time drivers don't buy a new car, they get a used car. If you're buying a used car as your first car, find a mechanic like me to check it out. Because over the years, it may sound ridiculous, but I have had scores of customers, they buy a used car, then later they bring it to me and say, Scotty, I just bought this car, could you check it out for me? And I just respond, you know, you're putting the cart in front of the horse. You have it checked out before you buy, not after. Don't do like one of my customers did years ago. They set it up so the seller of the car was coming over here for me to check it out. So they were over here, and here comes this nice Toyota. It was a white Toyota. So I open the hood, and my customer runs up to me and says, don't bother, I'll pay you for your time, but don't bother. I hate white cars. Now the last biggest mistake new drivers make, it's a gigantic one. That's why I saved it for last. It has to do with guys like me. Find an honest mechanic before your car has a problem. Today, everybody's out to make money. If you've never met someone, your car breaks down on the road and you get it towed somewhere, they don't know who you are, you don't know who they are, that spells trouble. Put it in your phone as a contact. Even I have a special number in here, and that's my tow truck driver's number. My wife's car broke down, I had to tow it over here years and years ago. Somebody sold me a bad part that broke about a month later. But in any kind of emergency, a wreck, something bad happens, you want to have a place that you trust that you can take your car to. Because in the real world, people are always trying to pull fast ones. I remember when I was a kid, we were driving to Albany to look at the State University of New York at Albany. We stopped on the New York Thruway to get gas. In those days, they pumped the gas. And the kid comes to my father and says, hey, you need an air filter and you need an oil filter and oil change too. God didn't know my father ran a gas station himself. My father just said, hey Jack, we just changed the filter and the oil and the air filter before we started on this trip to Albany. Forget it. You want to find an honest mechanic before you need one, not when you need one. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.